Today we're going to give our Mustang a cooling upgrade. We're going to install a new 3-core aluminum radiator with a dual fan setup. Glad you're here with us. Come on, let's get into it. The radiator and fan setup that we got that came with the car, it was pretty crusty. The radiator had a lot of like fin damage on it. Had a Black Magic fan on it, but the brackets on it had some damage. So there's the new radiator. SVE 3-core aluminum. It's gonna look great on the Mustang. It came as a kit. Also had a dual fan shroud setup. We've been busy working on the Mustang. I had some old crusty long tube headers that I cleaned up and painted and got those installed, which that was a huge ordeal. Got that one on there. Man, this starter is like in a cage, a header cage. It's just in there. Wiring harness, we got all taped out with the braided covering and got everything kind of laid in place. We got our solenoid on the wall over there and hooked up. We got our battery tray back in. Went ahead and routed the headlight harness and got it in. So whenever we do put our nose cap back on, we got that ready. I wanted to go ahead and get that done because the radiator is going to kind of cover that up. So I wanted to have that in before I put the radiator in. So we're about to get started working on getting that radiator installed on the Mustang. So the fan shroud, tabs, and the radiator's drilled just right, just to mount the fans onto the radiator. So that's what we're about to do right now. Now, so there's some type of a cooler option that you can put here, like trans cooler or, Mother Nature, that you can install there, but I don't have that, so I need to plug those. We want to go ahead and get these rubber feet installed for the radiator set on. You can see that one tab kind of goes side to side, and one tab kind of goes up and down. See how that one's up and down, that one's side to side, like that right there. And this one, like that right there. Then we've got our brackets that are going to clamp on top of the radiator right here. They also have rubber feet inside. So we've got these. I'm going to have those ready. We got a bolt for each of them. Look at that though. Plenty of room, nice, clean. A little overflow will be right there. That'll be cool. Come out nice and flush with the top. The factory brackets grab onto it really nice. They had built-in little aluminum things for those to hook onto. Same thing down at the bottom. There's little aluminum feet that set in the rubber pads down there. Almost makes you want to not put a cover on it. Just SVE coming down the road. So now I think I'm gonna go ahead and get my hoses on. Maybe go ahead and put the little overflow thing on and get those hoses put on and get the clamps on and just kind of get all that hooked up. And then from there, it's mostly electrical work. I've got a couple of little plugs ordered that I don't think are gonna be here for a couple of days, so we may have to come back to that. Oh. I'm gonna come over this way with it a little bit more. Get it away from my gauge. I always like to try to think about how the clamp's gonna be facing. For one, I want it to be easy to tighten and get on and off. Two, I want it to have kind of like the pretty side facing somewhere. I think I'll go cut this on my little bandsaw. Going back on. Okay. What's wrong with that? All right, so we got that top hose mounted. I think it's pretty good. It's kind of pushed up on our fuel gauge just a little bit, or fuel pressure gauge, but I think it's gonna be okay. It's fine. All right, so now I think I'm gonna go do that lower radiator hose. All right, let's get the hose up there first. All right, so now we got our top hose on. Now we got the lower radiator hose on, radiator. Let's get our overflow mounted. I've already like hooked up the hose on it. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hold on, I didn't get a shot of you in your house coat. Wait, come back.
No.
That's nice. All right. So we've got some wiring to do now, but like I had said before, I'm waiting on some plugs. But man, we are on our way. All right, so we got the radiator installed, the fan. Now we got to get the fan all wired up. We've got this little thermostat relay unit here that we've got to get wired in. I think I've got my head wrapped around how I want to do this. One of the things I wanted was if I decide to take the radiator out, I want to be able to just undo a couple of hoses, unplug a couple of plugs, and take the radiator out. The fans draw a kind of a heavy amp load or whatever. So I wanted some heavier plugs. So I found these 10 gauge plugs that I'm going to use to hook both the fans up. So we'll be able to just unplug straight from the fans, leave the thermostat and everything hooked in, and be able to take the whole radiator out. I just wanted that for ease of, I don't know why I want to take the radiator out so easy, but I do. So that's what I'm doing. Let's get going. So the little thermostat relay unit, it's got the relay built in it. Underneath that little rubber plug right there, you can adjust the thermostat. I think it comes preset to 160 degrees, which sounds good to me. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it there for now. We have got several wires that we got to hook up. We've got a thermostat that goes to the hot water temperature gauge. We got to ground it. This goes to a switched ignition source, which I have already located that I'm going to use. The green wire we're probably not going to use right now. That is an overwide. That's an overwide wire if you ever want to manually switch the fan on or off, or if you want to hook it up to the AC on and off somehow. But anyway, we're not doing that. And then we've got our big red fused wire, and that goes to one of the fan legs. The other fan leg goes straight to the battery. So I think I'm going to mount this right there. That just looks like a nice little spot to mount it. I can tuck and run the wires wherever I want to real easy. I found my switched ignition source right there. It works as long as the key's forward. We got 12 volts right there. If the key's turned backwards, there's no voltage there. So I think that's probably going to be a good spot. All right, so step one, I got my relay mounted down there. Moving on, we're about to go ahead and attach this yellow wire. I'm going to use one of these little connector clips. You basically just stick the two wires next to each other and squeeze this little metal blade into both of them, and it connects them. All right, we got the radiator in, we got the fans in, it's all wired up. All right, so we got our little thermostat relay thing mounted right down there. This first wire we ran down here to the O2 sensor. I found a keyed power on the O2 sensor and kind of tied to that. That way when you turn the key forward, it will trigger the relay. We got our ground black hooked right here with the same ground from the headlights. There's our inline fuse that was in the the harness there, easy access. We've got our thermostat wire coming out, routing on that hose right there. Boom, there's our thermostat and our top inlet right there. All right, moving on down the harness, we got our fused red wire. So well, let's just go underneath the car. All right, so each fan has a wire coming out, a black and a blue. So basically you take the black from each fan and put it together, and the blue from each fan and put it together. Oh shoot, I can't remember how it goes. I think the black from each fan goes to the crap. Anyway, I'll put text in here what goes where, and then that goes up to our relay, and this one goes up to the solenoid to full-time power. It comes up right there, hooked to our solenoid. I think it's time we should go ahead and put some fluid in this radiator.
Naturally, we're going to fill our fresh build up with the very best Peak Auto. We got the 50/50 pre-diluted. This thing took like 3.5 gallons to fill up this radiator and the motor. Wasn't really expecting that. We're going to be firing this bad boy off here in the very near future.